The first morel mushroom of the season. That's always exciting. For many mushroom hunters, morel mushrooms are the most prized mushrooms they can find. I'm going to show you how I find the kind of habitat where morels are more likely to be found, why it is they are there, which habitats to avoid, and I'll tell you something you might find surprising about morels that a lot of people don't know. We'll go look at a few spots, see if we can find any there, and find out why they might be there. Before we do that, let's look right around this area, because sometimes if you find one, you can find more right around the same area. Both of these feel just slightly moist. They're good quality. Somebody bit the top off of this one. Couple old ones past their prime. They either fell over and got dried up, or they dried up and fell over. The good ones were on the shady side of the trees. These ones are on the south side, the sunny side of the trees. They must have came up first. We're a little late for this spot. We'll just leave those ones for, I'm not sure what we're leaving those ones for, but they can have them. I'm not seeing any more here. Let's move on. I've been hunting morels since, actually I don't know when I started. I was too young to remember. My mom is the morel fanatic of the family. When I was young, every spring going out to look for morels is something she and I would do together. Mostly on the hill across the creek from my grandparents' house where she grew up. For me, looking for morels every spring was just normal. I didn't know that there was any other way to have a spring. I see one. Why am I whispering like I need to sneak up on it? I don't know. It's a holy one. It's a little past its prime, but it's still good enough. I'm not seeing any more here. A lot of times they're in groups, but sometimes you only find one. Let's go find another spot. Morels are not any kind of funny mushroom. They're just regular eating mushrooms. The kind you eat because you're hungry or you want to eat something. Not the kind you eat because you want to do funny things. At least I've never noticed any funny things happen when I eat them. Or maybe I am the... never mind. I think I just walked myself right into that one. Here we have one of the mushrooms that some people call false morels. Gyromitra. Some people call them brain mushrooms. They call them false morels because they are not really morels. Bigger ones over here. My family always called these elephant ears. I could probably do a whole video on my family isms. They are questionably edible if you cook them really well, but with that questionable part, I've never tried them. I don't plan on it. As a kid, I spent a lot of time with my grandpa, my mom's dad. He would take me fishing, hunting. We did a lot of things together, but one thing he never offered to do was to take me out looking for morels. And I don't know that he did anyone else either. He would go up on that same hill by his house, and in a short time he would come back with 2 grocery sacks full of morels. He had his secret patch up there. He didn't want anyone to know where it was. I can understand that, because sometimes if you have a good thing and you start telling people about it, it won't be long before you don't have a good thing anymore. But that didn't stop us from looking for Grandpa's secret patch. Here's a real morel, a small one. Looks like another lone one. I don't see any more around it. When I first got this place, I thought, this place looks like morel heaven. But I usually didn't find many here, sometimes only 1 or 2 a year. It wasn't until I started learning the things I'm about to talk about that I started figuring out how to find them here. That's what we want. I can see it from all the way over here. A big blonde. These blondes are the ones I think they pay more for. A lot of people hunt these to sell them. Sometimes you can get a good price for them. I've never sold them. I just pick them for my own use. My family loves these so much they would probably disown me if I sold them. If I find more than I can eat myself, I just enjoy giving them away, especially to the old folks in the family who can't go out and find them anymore. I like eating them, but I think I enjoy finding them even more, and it's nice to be able to give some away to people who really appreciate them. I'm not finding any more around it. I spoke too soon. I was looking for blondes. There's a dark one trying to hide under a leaf. It was right on the other side of this madrone clump. I thought I found another one coming out from under this log. It was just a somewhat morel-shaped Douglas fir cone. That happens a lot when looking for mushrooms. I think what a lot of people don't realize about morels is they are mycorrhizal. Now, what does mycorrhizal mean? Does it mean they are pompous, arrogant, dirty, rotten so-and-sos who like using big words to try to impress people? Not exactly. If a mushroom is mycorrhizal, that means it is not saprotrophic. Speaking of dirty, rotten so-and-sos using big fancy words, what does saprotrophic mean? Saprotrophic means they consume dead material. There are some varieties of morels that are saprotrophic, but most are mycorrhizal, which means they form associations with plants. Myco means fungus, rhizal refers to roots. They attach to roots, form a symbiotic relationship where the fungus supplies the roots with water and nutrients, and the roots supply the fungus with sugars made by the plant, which the fungus uses to live off of. It's an important relationship for both the plants and the fungus. Many plant roots are not that great at extracting water and nutrients from the ground, but the mycelium of fungus, which is the part that lives underground, the main body of it, sends its hyphae all over the place, this little network of fibers. It is good at extracting water and nutrients from the ground. If a plant can make associations with this fungus, especially long-lived plants like these trees, it makes them more survivable. And the fungus is dependent on those sugars. It needs to have it. One of the reasons I used to have difficulty finding morels here is I was looking in all the wrong places. I was looking in the type of places where I found them in other parts of the county. It wasn't until I learned which trees the morels were associating with here that I started finding more. If you've noticed, all the morels we have found today have been right around the base of madrone trees, like this one. Does that mean if you want to find morels, just look for madrone trees and you'll find morels? Not necessarily. Most people watching probably don't even have madrone in their area. For some, this might be the first time they've ever even heard of madrone. What it means is, in this location, at this time, it appears the morels that are associating with the madrone trees are the ones that are fruiting right now. The mushroom is just the fruiting body of the main part of the fungus, which lives underground. It's continually there, just like an apple tree is continually there, but a certain part of the year, they produce this fruiting body. Another location I like to find them in, which is far away from here, sometimes they're under the ponderosa pine, sometimes they're under the Douglas fir, then they're under the Shasta fir. After looking around for a while, I can get an idea which plant they're likely going to be around. In the beginning, you might just have to wander around all over the place looking at different habitats in your area until you start finding them. Once you start finding them, notice the trees they are around. Then, instead of looking for morels everywhere, look for the trees that are hosting them, then go to those trees, look around them. Sugar pine cone, the world's longest cones. Usually they're bigger around. A squirrel probably knocked it out before it was fully opened. Then, wonder what happened to the squirrel. Never got back to them. I'm going to avoid a place like this because I've never found morels in a place like this, at least on this property. A place with no madrone, only pine and fir. I'll just quickly pass through it on my way to a more probable location. I'll keep my eye open just in case there's an odd one somewhere. I'll just quickly pass through on my way to better hosts. In other locations, I have found a lot of morels in places that looked a lot like this, just not on this property. There are different varieties of morels. It may just be that I have the ones that like madrone. Too bad I'm not into these elephant ears or gyromitras, because there sure are a lot of them. When I hear questionably edible, that doesn't sound the same to me as they're good to eat. I almost passed right by these ones. They're so small, I almost didn't see them. They're so small and they feel fresh. I'm going to leave these for a day or two, see if they get any bigger. Stay tuned until the end of the video to see if they've grown at all. Just down the hill from those little ones, I found these. Those little ones gave these ones away. I saw another one down there. And another one up the hill right behind you. When you find these kind of patches, that's when it really gets fun. And you have to watch where you step. I can't tell you how many times I found them by stepping on them. All of those were right in this grove of small madrones. If we wanted to go even deeper down the rabbit hole, we could take that big fancy word mycorrhiza, turn it into two bigger, fancier words, endomycorrhiza and ectomycorrhiza. We won't go down that rabbit hole today other than to say the difference between the two is the way they attach to the roots. Where that could be useful is knowing that morels are ectomycorrhizal. If you look up the different tree species in your area, you can find out which ones are hosts for ecto, which ones are hosts for endo. If they're hosts for endo, those are not the ones that are going to host morels. If they're ecto, they might be the type of tree that can host morels. The ectos are the ones you want to pay attention to. So a quick Google search should tell you which trees are which. That's as far as we'll go into that today. Although you should pay at least some attention to the endos so you don't bump into them. Actually, that's not an endo, that's an ecto. Aha! This one's trying to be sneaky, but it can't escape our eagle eyes. More. And another one. Those two are small, they feel fresh. I'll leave those, see if they grow. This is not far away from those other two small ones. One of the advantages of doing this on your own land, you don't have to worry about someone coming and taking them. What do I see right next to this madrone tree? While I was looking at that one, I almost stepped on this one. Something bit the top off of it. And a little bit bigger one. Look what I just found. There was a non-typical buck here during the rut a year before last. He's appeared in several of my videos. Here's his shed. I'll leave it here for now. I'll come back when I go look at those other small mushrooms. Look what I found right in the madrones. Another one here. One there. One over here. Right next to a little Douglas fir tree sprouting. Another one trying to hide under a stick. A lot of small ones today. A blonde. We didn't get a lot today, but we got a few in a place where there typically aren't very many. It's 3 days later. We're back up here where we left those small ones. Let's see if they've grown any. If they grew any, it was hardly enough to notice. Let's go look at that other patch we left. Let's look at these ones. I don't know if this one grew much. Looks about the same. Maybe grew a little, but not much. They're starting to dry out. I think these ones are done growing. This part of the video is for those who might tell me, quit picking those small ones, let them grow up to be bigger ones. If they looked like they were going to continue growing, I would leave them, but I could tell with a lot of these, the gills are fully open, they're not going to continue growing. I thought it was better to wait and say that when I have evidence to support it. That's typical of this place. Most of them are going to be small here. Actually, you shouldn't believe that. Actually, you shouldn't believe anything I've said here. You shouldn't use this technique What I've been talking about is complete nonsense. We don't want you going out using this technique, finding all the mushrooms, because we want them all for ourselves. You can, but the rest of you don't pay any attention to me. Just wander about the woods aimlessly, pass up all the morels so the rest of us can, even better yet, don't even bother going out there because you're not going to find any. They don't even exist. Morels are a mythical fungus. Don't even bother. Okay, the real reason why I was able to find all those non-existent morel mushrooms is because I'm wearing my Camel City Mill All-American made merino wool socks. They have these special fibers woven into them that just pull you to the morels. They lead you right to them. Okay, I can tell you're not buying that. It's not true, but they are the most comfortable socks I've ever had. One of the things I really like about them, on steep terrain, they don't slide on the bottom of my boots and push against the sidewall. Is that what it's called, a sidewall? I think that's tires. Well, whatever the side of a boot is called, they don't slide into that. And their threads are small. They're like sheets with fine thread count. They don't have big threads like a lot of them do, which grind against my feet when I'm walking in uneven terrain. At the end of the day, my feet are not as tired as they are with other socks. And with hot weather on the way, summer's going to be here soon, they're really good at wicking moisture. They keep your feet cool and dry, even in hot weather. They have a 10-year guarantee. It's all American made. It helps support the channel. That's pretty much all you should pay attention to on this video. The mushroom stuff, don't even bother. And I almost forgot one of the best parts. They don't slide down in my boots. I'll put a link to those in the description.